Becomes an emotional decision. The
Mhm.
the one spouse becomes the caregiver, and that was never the intention. Like, we're gonna grow old together, and there's not gonna ever be any problems, right? I think that's the dream. But all of a sudden, somebody starts having health problems, and now their lives are basically flipped upside down. Or it's the child now having to become the parent, which
Mhm.
completely changes relationship of how you work in with your parents.
What if the best chapter of your life hasn't even begun yet? What lies within you is the power to live brighter, bolder, and truer than ever before. So welcome to Vivatude, where caregiving, connections, and career come into balance, and where your vitality, vision, and voice shines through. Because the revolution isn't out there, it's already within you. Welcome to Vivatude.
All right, everybody, welcome to Vivatude. I'm your host, Tracy Cromwell, and I am focusing on physical and environmental wellness. And with that, I'm excited to have a very wonderful guest with me today, Paul Kocharhook. He is the president of Pathway Design and Construction. So I'm just going to read a little bit about him to you. Paul is helping people make lasting changes to their homes, impacting not only their daily lives, but allowing the continual growth. And over more than 30 years, has been in the construction business. He has shown commitment to his own growth, starting as a laborer working for his grandfather, who was a general contractor, and becoming a general contractor himself, and eventually launching his own business. Paul's longtime dedication is eco-friendly, which I love, and healthy building practices, which I love, has distinguished pathway within the industry, and he has made ongoing education a core principle for his firm. He is a certified aging in place specialist. So Paul is passionate about serving the increasing population of Seattle area residents who want to remain in their homes for as long as possible. He is also a master certified green professional, a certified graduate remodeler, a certified renovator for, for lead removal, which is very important, and recently completed passive house training for energy efficient building. So, Paul, welcome, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too, me too. So, what inspired you to do the work you do?
Oh gosh. I guess the idea that the homes that we live in can really evolve with us. As when I started my business, I was a remodeling contractor. People were calling me to remodel their home, and that was great. But I think as I started to understand more of some of the impacts that we might have on the homes, I realized that, gosh, there's so much more than just say somebody calling me up and remodeling, and it's really how can we think about how I can remodel your space so that it can evolve with your family. So whether it's a young family or an older family, we're all going to have different needs as we kind of progress through life, and maybe have visitors who come to our homes as well. So maybe it's you and your husband and your small children, and you have parents that come to stay with you for a given amount of time. Like how can we make these homes safer for all of us to continue to live in?
Hmm. Yeah, and it's so important now too. I think about this with even just the Seattle area. The whole housing situation seems different because we have so many hills, we have so much water. We don't have a lot of land necessarily to keep building these massive projects. So do you find that they're staying in their homes longer and remodeling, like to grow their family, that kind of a thing?
Yeah, we're starting to see that. I mean, people love the neighborhoods, right? Like the Seattle has these great pockets, and I hear that a lot. Like, gosh, we don't want to move. We've looked, and we love where we live. We love the schools that our kids are in.
Hmm.
Or I've lived here my whole life, and I don't know anything different. And I love my neighborhood, and I love my neighbors. I don't want to move. So how can we continue to live here and make our home functional? That becomes difficult though when we think about like some of the density that Seattle's like provide that we're basically requiring us to do because we don't have the land, right? So we're seeing these structures that are 3 stories high, built 4 of them built where one house used to be. And if an elderly person or even somebody like my age, right? Like they're going to live in this home for the next 20 or 30 years. How is this house going to evolve with them so that they continue to live in the home safely when you have all 3 levels of stairs that you're having to deal with, right? So are these homes being designed to adapt in the future?
Right, right. And thinking of our topic here is that environmental wellness, right, is your home environment. So that was a kind of a segue into my next question, which is what challenge do you have to overcome that our clients can relate to? So again, we're looking at those that are either caregivers, trying to care for family and friends. So what do you see as part of that as well?
Yeah, I think it is shifting that mindset because when we're thinking about, say, aging, right, like into our homes, it's shifting that mindset of it's a little bit more than just grab bars or ramps in a home. It's all the other things. It's the lighting, it's the handrails getting in and out, up and down stairs, or just the entry point into a home. Do you need something to hold on to, or do we need to think about it a little bit differently in order to gain that entry to the home? And some of it is just thinking through design that maybe you don't need it now. And I have this conversation a lot with clients too. It's like, let's not we don't have to add, say, grab bars today. You don't want grab bars in your shower? That's fine, but let's prepare if you should ever need them, right? Let's put the backing in the wall so that you don't have to call me back and tell me, oh, we have to do such and such because we didn't do the things that we needed to do behind the wall to
Mm-hmm.
make it more accessible in the future. So now you're remodeling the bathroom one more
Mm-hmm.
time than you might normally have to. So it's having some anticipation on what life could bring. We can't anticipate everything, but we can at least have a little bit of foresight.
So you have somebody say is becoming a caregiver, maybe a wife is need to become a caregiver for the husband or vice versa, or it's an aging parent. But how do you work through those aspects, of that emotional part? Maybe like what are some stories that you have that could help some people looking to revise their home, or they're looking to buy a home or something, to help them through that emotional part.
Yeah, that's a great question because I think it is. Becomes an emotional decision.
Mhm.
The one spouse becomes the caregiver, and that was never the intention. Like, we're going to grow old together and there's not going to ever be any problems, right? I think that's the dream. But all of a sudden somebody starts having health problems and now their lives are basically flipped upside down. Or it's the child now having to become the parent, which
Mhm.
completely changes relationship of how you work in with your parents. Yeah, I think for me it's just I've learned to just have a little bit more empathy when we're having these conversations because it's not easy. It's never you're just calling me out to do a remodel. There's always emotion behind it, and I think sometimes it's surprise as well, like something just comes up and now you need to start thinking about life just a little bit differently or maybe last week.
Yeah, I know. My mom is 94, and we had to make that choice of she's in an adult care home now, but we had a period of time where we were trying to make her condo more safe for her. Luckily it was on one floor, no stairs, but still it was. But I can see too in my mind, I had this idea in my head, and you brought this up before. We were just worried about getting her grab bars and getting some kind of industrial thing for her to hold on to the toilet with, and in that aspect of somebody being on, uh, me not being an expert in aging in place by any means, but also adding the emotional content of it. It is hard, and I think what I'd like to bring up is just absolutely having somebody that certified that knows how to help people. It's good to ask for help because
Oh
we
yeah.
can all get caught in this thing. We can do this, we can handle this, but the emotion part is really rough. So I could see where that would have helped us immensely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting when we think about some of the things that a client will tell me over time too, that just maybe doesn't they don't realize is making it more difficult for them to live in their home. Like sometimes I'll just have a client say, "Gosh, it's really hard for me to see in this room," and it's like, "Oh, well, let's walk in there and let's see." And you flip on the light, and they just have like one 60-watt bulb, if maybe it's a 40-watt bulb, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
let's just look at a little different. Maybe we just change the light bulb, or maybe a light fixture is a
Mhm.
little bit different, and it makes all the difference in how you can continue to like function in the
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, everyone, we've been talking with Paul from Pathway Design Construction, and we're going to take a little break here, and we'll be right back in a moment.
And thanks for listening to Vivatude. 4 hosts, 1 each week. We help you revivatude your next chapter because purpose, passion, and prosperity isn't out there. They're already within you. Brighter, bolder, truer. Vivatude.